CIRDAP. Yeah. I would like to thank Director General CIRDAP, Sri CIRDAP Virapatji, and our Director General Dr. G. Narendra Kumar, who gave opportunity to participate today's presentation. And today we are going to discuss on this main topic of the governance to good governance, and we will discuss the importance of what is the social accountability tools and why social accountability is more relevance to current situation, and what kind of tools we can adopt for our day-to-day service delivery process. Is it visible? Yes, can anyone?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Yeah. Yeah. And one more, my humble request that this is a kind of a participatory webinar, not that one side I will give a lecture and you can listen. We'll do more participatory approach to discuss, because most of the things you already know, but only in technicality we will explain with our experiences. So don't be silent, and whenever I raise questions, you be just respond to and participate whatever you know on this. So thank you once again, and we'll proceed to our today's session on governance to good governance and need and role of social accountability tools. Before starting, anyone have any idea of social accountability tools which maybe you already using in your day-to-day life? Anyone from this our participants group? Are there anyone?
Could you please ask again, please?
Yes, sir. So I'm asking in our participants group, are there anyone already using any of social accountability tools or any tools for our good governance? Anyone? Are anyone using any of the social accountability tools previously or currently in our day-to-day work?
I think that we are using it, but not having it such as the design tool or anything.
Okay.
But we are responsible for our works and also our policy body are accountable on their decision.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for your response. We'll start 5 to 10 minutes. Actually, why I planned this, even though Jannat asked me to prepare in the year calendar, I purposely have put this today because in India, every year, December 25th, we celebrate as a Good Governance Day on behalf of birth anniversary of our former Prime Minister, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So that's why I thought let it be more suitable to our session. So this week only I planned for this session. So we have from since 2014 onwards, and to honor our former Prime Minister, Sri Vajpayee birth anniversary, we are celebrating this Good Governance Day every year on 25th of December. So coming to our today's session, so this is the structure of our presentation. You can see that we will discuss what is the governance definition, who will be the key actors and stakeholders, and how it has moved towards the good governance, governance to good governance, definition of good governance, and main importantly, 8 characteristics of good governance. We will discuss 10 to 15 minutes. Then we will move to the actual our title of social accountability. What is the need of social accountability? Why we need to adopt social accountability current situation, the definition, the context, and what are the existing tools and techniques to use our social accountability mechanism. And before adopting, we need to check whether can we assess these tools to our location, our area. Is it applicable to our own area, or we need to modify our tools? So that we need to check. Then we can see the device factor, the critical lines we can discuss. Then if time permits, we will discuss 1 or 2 tools which I already done so much of work in that area. Mainly, I can share this citizen report card tool as a case example. Then conclusions and what we can do further with this presentation. So this is the total session details. Is it clear, sir? Please, if you are not understanding, just again you can stop me and I will go back. Okay. So as per your understanding, what is the governance? Generally, we will use this term governance all the time. But as per your understanding, what is the governance? Anyone from the participants side? No problem. Whatever you know, you just
say. I like to say that this is not a definition.
Yeah, no problem.
But governance is not government.
Ah, very good.
It's not government, and the governance is something that need for stakeholders.
Very good. Very good.
Okay. All right.
Anyone? Any other? One more person?
Yeah, this is Israr IRD expert from Pakistan. As far as I know that as Director General CIRDAP mentioned that it is not the government, but it's basically the mechanism and facilitation for
functionality. Yes, please. Correct.
So all the stakeholders, either these are the institutional arrangement or the public or the private people who are getting effect of the system or the policies. So that effect is basically can be considered as the governance.
Very good, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So as per definition, if you see, it's a exercise of political, economic, and administrative authority to manage a nation's affairs. It's not that one person, one aspect can be done for your governance. It's a exercise of political aspects, economic activities, and administrative authority to manage a nation's affairs. And it's not a simple mechanism. It's a complex because we have to work together. We need to do so much of as a relationship, and institutions has to work together. So all the way it encompasses every institutions. Not that one single institution can bring your governance in system. Everyone has to come together. You need to work together, and different aspects has to be come forward for your bringing the governance in the system. Now, my second question is that if governance is working as expected, do we require good governance? Anyone? If governance is working as expected, do we require good governance?
Basically, sir, it depends on the satisfaction level of the beneficiaries.
Yes, sir.
Like, for example, if their needs are being addressed, I think we can say that the governance is
enough. Very good. Very good.
Satisfactory. Otherwise, it's having gaps and loopholes. So
exactly.
that should be improved. Yeah.
Very good, sir. Good. Yes, that's the main thing. When the governance system fails, there is a loopholes, like our Secretary Agriculture Pakistan said that something is not happening as expected in the governance. That's why we brought this new terminology, good governance. So it's nothing but it's a subset of governance, but wherein public resources and problems are managed effectively, efficiently. These two are missing in our governance system. When you are failing in our governance to implementation effectively and efficiently in response to the critical needs of the society. Otherwise, if the existing governance system work effectively and efficiently, I don't think we need to add the prefix good to the governance, because of we are failing in our governance system. Now we brought the new terminology, good governance, where we need to bring this more effective work, effective and efficient works. This how it will happen when you have the transparency, when you are working in an accountable manner, when you have the public participation. If you have bring all these three components as a good governance, then you can work in the system. So effective democratic form of governance rely on the public participation, accountability, and transparency. If you bring this effective governance to your system, that exactly means by good governance. Any doubts are here? Maybe in the continuation also you can discuss. So in general, if you see, the governance has been derived by the different international donors like a World Bank, Asian Development Bank. It's a different approaches, and governance is a method through which power is exercised in the management of a country political, economic, and social resources. Just this fine-tune the definition. Again, in 1995, Asian Development Bank has defined as is the manner in which power is exercised in the management of a country's social and economic resources for development. Governance is the process whereby society or organizations make important decisions, determine whom they involve, how they treat. This is by the Canada Institute of Governance. And UNDP, what I have already mentioned. So it's exercise of a economic, political, administrative authority. Moving to, and if you see these are the stakeholders in our governance. One is that there will be legislature, judiciary system will be there, media will be there, private actors. So many actors will play with your governance structure. And moving towards governance, it's actually
learning session.
Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you. So, my name is Farhana. Farhana.
Excuse me,
Yes,
can
yes,
you
please.
kindly
Any questions?
switch off your microphone, please?
Farhana?
Tengok ni my webinar. Tengok on. Tambah asalkan tunjuk.
Can you please switch off your microphone, please?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, no problem. Governance, if you say value neutral, we are using this good as a for 922 said that it's a further development to the concept of governance. It's nothing but new. It's a further development. Wherever we are lacking in a governance, we are developing those concepts and making as a good governance. So it's a synonymous of sound development management. It's a central to creating a sustaining and environment which fosters strong and equitable developments. Similarly, even see the World Bank has mentioned that good governance entails it's a sound public sector management, like a public participation, which you are bringing into as a component in our governance system, like for the efficient and effective implementation of the any program in the to the economy. We are bringing this accountability and exchange and free flow of information. Transparency will talks about all this. Even DFID good governance is a focusing on it's a legitimacy, accountability, competences, and respect for human rights. On the whole nutshell, if you see governance to governance, it started with public administration under this major state with their instrument to achieve states' goals and objectives. Then slowly it goes to start the governance. The state goes towards the governance has been moved to traditional concept and recent promises. When globalization has took place, so there are so many add-ons to your governance, like a plus removal of trade barriers, plus entry of MNCs, plus intensive of application of IT. So this all bring it to your system. Now it has a move to NPA, new public management. So instead of our public administration, now it has been changed to derived as a new public management. So now managerial orientation will be there. Larger collaboration between state, market, and civil society, where we will call it as a PPP model, like a public-private model. So ultimately, your government work for your governance, where we have the civil society as a role in our system. Then you can see the good governance in the system. This is in a nutshell of your governance to good governance. If you see the components of good governance as per the 6 dimensions, as first described by the World Bank. So voice and accountability, political stability and lack of voice, government effectiveness, regulatory quality, rule of law, and control of corruption. This is as per the indicators developed by the World Bank. We will discuss in detail in the 8 dimensions also. As per the United Nations definition, there are 8 basic characteristics for your good governance. We start with your accountability, transparent, responsiveness, equitable and inclusiveness, effective and efficient implementation, following the rule of law, participatory, and consensus oriented. We will 5 minutes. We will discuss each component. Then we will move to the accountability. If coming to this first component of accountability, so there will be a key requirement of good governance. If you want to bring good governance in system, accountability is a mandate. So applicable to all the government, civil society and private sector. Not that only government will be accountable. Everyone has to be accountable in your system. Then only you can bring that good governance in the system. And types of accountability: political accountability, legal, administrative, social accountability. Everyone is accountable to your system. And the components are your answerability, your sanctions, your redressal system, and system to improvement. Second one is transparency, free flow of information. So I think some of the countries you have this information, right to information. Anyone from our participants? Do you have any right to information acts in your country?
Yes, in Pakistan, in the last regime, we introduced right to information and right to services laws,
Very
and
good.
these are applicable in the institutions.
Oh, okay, good, good, good. So it brings ultimately transparency in the system. Whatever because government spends on the fees collected or taxes collected public fund, they are spending on the welfare of the public. So when you are spending, you are accountable to where you are spending, how you are spent, what is the actual sanction. Everything should be in the transparent manner. Then only the leakages can be stopped. And responsiveness, everyone has to be responsive. Citizen orientation, citizen friendliness, timely delivery of services, and redress to citizen grievances. Whatever the public has giving the redresses, you have to be responsive, especially from the public sector. Those who are working in the government sector, they are 100% responsiveness to the beneficiary or users. And effective and efficiently, optimum use of resources. Not that you can plan something else and you spend somewhere after so long time, or the budget allocation, you will mention something and you won't release the budget. So it cannot be effective and efficient manner of your resource utilization. So you need to plan in the way where optimum use of resources, competency and performance of civil servants, results oriented. Everything you need to link it with your outcomes, whether what is the outcome you are planning, whether you achieved or not. This timely you have to check. Then only you can see the effectiveness and efficiency of the implementation of the program. Rule of law, yes, there should be a fair legal framework. Everyone has to be equal in front of the law. If you are doing some mistake, you have to be punished, or you are be accountable for your system. And impartial enforcement machinery, independent judiciary system should be there in your system. Participation, yes, of course, until unless there is no participation, we cannot bring this transparency and accountability in the system, especially from the public side, those who are the demand side. Generally, governments will serve these public goods, but if there is no voice or response, active participation by the public, we cannot expect the good governance in the system. So it's mandatory that public participation is one of the key component of our good governance. Opportunities for citizens to participate in decision making, implementation and monitoring government activities, freedom of expression and association, all these things. Equity and inclusion, everyone has to be given equal opportunity. Not that only one person or those who can influence can get the opportunity, and the program should go for those who deserve, not for those who influence people. So we need to in the system that equity and inclusiveness in system. Consensus oriented, it means that everyone has to agree what the decision has been taken. Once the decision has been agreed by everyone, that considered as a consensus. So everyone has agreed that this we can take into the ground level. So mediation of different interests in society to reach a broad consensus on the what is the best interest of the whole community, not for individual beneficiary, how it will be useful for the entire whole community, how this can be achieved. This is the way how we need to work with your good governance system. Now we are moving to our social accountability journey in a progress. So in general, I think most of the countries, I can say not only in India and most of the countries, even developing countries also. So the vast majority of the people depends on the government for their essential basic services. Is it true or not? In most of the countries, most of the common man or public will depends on the government for essential services and their entitlements. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. But if you observe that there is a low performance and failure of service delivery was a serious matter. This also is there now in any system, any country. Not that everyone is giving 100%. So the low performance or failure of service delivery was a serious matter. And same time, public also not happy with the service what we are delivering. They're dissatisfied with the service performance of the governments and their agencies. Will you agree, or anyone has to debate on this? Please, others also has to be participate. I already requested. Please, anyone?
Yes, Dr. K.Prabhakar, you are right that if the services are not provided to the people, so they get dissatisfied and they don't trust the government institutions.
Exactly, sir. Very good. Very good. Any others, sir, please? Anyone other, please? So I requested that it should be completely participatory webinar, please. And everyone will know it's happening in the around the globe. No one want to speak? I think that Secretary Agriculture Pakistan. Sir, your good name?
Name is Esrar and I am IRD expert for CIRDAP.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, social accountability. What is social accountability? It can be defined an approach toward building accountability that relates on engagement. Here, weak engagement means common public of that particular locations. So until unless again you link to this statement to our good governance statement, where we have mentioned that good governance can be get into your system only by public participation. Through public participation, you can bring this transparency and accountability. So here it's an approach towards building accountability that relies on civic engagement. So here civic engagement means, which is that ordinary or any civil society organizations who participate directly or indirectly also. Directly, how they can participate, and indirectly, how they can participate. Anyone? In what way any civil person participate as a directly or indirectly? Can anyone give any example?
Yes, basically in Pakistan, we do social accountability like in major projects. If a building is being made like a bridge or a major road,
yes,
so
sir.
for that purpose, the environmental impact assessment is carried out, and we are supposed to go for public hearing of the masses,
Yes,
which are either going to be affected by that project or otherwise.
Very good. So it's a direct participation. Very good. And indirectly, so we can collect the feedback from the public instead of bringing them to the one common place. As an agency, we can go with some of the questionnaire or database. So you can go with them, and indirectly you collect the information about that particular services, and you can reflect on different way. So in both the way, you can make it as a accountable. So the aim of this civic engagement is to stimulate demand. So just now we have discussed. So until unless there is no public participation, there is no voice from the public, we cannot expect the good service delivery in the system. So it stimulates the demand from citizen and put pressures on the state or private sector to meet their obligation for the quality of service delivery. And if you see why debate going on this accountability, because of dissatisfaction with the state performance, I think our friend already has been accepted, and non-responsiveness of monopoly provider. What does that mean? Anyone other than our friend? Please participate.
So when you have only one provider of any service, say for example, usually for electricity, you
Exactly.
usually have only one provider.
Yeah.
And if there are some issues and the feedback system doesn't work there,
Okay.
probably most of the people experience.
Yes, sir.
So that could be considered under this point that you have just
Exactly.
mentioned.
Goswamiji, you are from Bangladesh or India?
No. I'm an Indian only. I'm from basically based in South Asian University from New Delhi.
Okay, good. So exactly true. You said like it's a single service provider. Those service is provided by the only single provider. Especially if you see the services provided to the common man, or basic service will be by the government sector, where there will be no any private actors or other agencies to provide such kind of services. Like our Goswami said that electricity mostly supplied by the government. So because of this, only one single service provider, the service provider will act as a monopoly. So because I am the only service provider, whatever service I am providing, you has to be taken into. So it brings the non-responsiveness and poor service delivery. And concern about growing corruption, I think everyone will accept with me. So there is a corruption in any system. Don't worry about in India or any other countries. So it's going practice, and until unless you have committed system, we cannot avoid this as one of the evil practice of in the system. And failure of existing accountability mechanisms. It means that so someone want to say something? Raheel, you want to say something? Okay. So failure of existing accountability mechanism means in our governance system, we already have some framework. If suppose someone is not accountable, he is behaving something differently as per the norms and rights, we have system how we can bring the accountable, but which is not strong. If suppose I can give an example, as a faculty, if I am not delivering some of my responsibilities, there is a mechanism to take action against me. But because of this weak system, I may manage with my higher authorities or some other means. I will again continue in my same system. It shows that we have the accountability mechanism which is not strong, which is very weak. Because of this, again it affects your entire service delivery process. And why this accountability is important, because of major portion of state budgets are allocated to the goods and services. It means governments will collect the taxes, and they will spend on the public services as well as the goods and services. But if you observe, productivity of people depends on the quality of the public services. So if you are giving full satisfied level of service delivery, productivity will be high. And many citizens have no exit option. Just now we have discussed, it's like nothing but monopoly service provider. There will be only one service provider, especially poor people, those who completely depends on the government for their basic needs. They don't have any exit option. They have to go through same whatever existing system only. So it takes you in the full service delivery process. Some more examples also, if you see, this is actually governance in a theory. In any system, it starts with your societal values, public awareness, and there will be so many supporting pillars to support your governance, like a legislature, executive body, judiciary, media, civil society. There will be private actors, international agencies, watchdogs, ombudsman. So many supporting pillars are there to support your governance system. It leads to your sustainable development. It leads to your rule of law, and ultimately everyone will work on your quality of life. This is for this only any system works for your in your country. So they want to make it as a quality of life for the everyone in our country. This is as a in. What about in practice? Is it happening in the same way? Thing I want to do some case studies. Governance as an experience. This is as a theory. On paper, every system will have the very proper good preparation, but in actual implementation will be completely different. Is it true or wrong, my statement? Please respond.
At times, of course, I mean, I won't say probably 100% of the
Exactly.
cases, but most of the time that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. So in fact, I was about to ask you about that. So since you have a case study, probably you can present that. Thereafter, we'll come back for discussion. I have a couple of things to ask and comment.
Definitely.
Maybe we'll come back once.
Definitely, will do. So, but if you see in a practice as an experience, so some of the pillars which supposed to work because of their poor efficiency, their lack of knowledge, all this will disturb your governance, and ultimately whatever you are planning, we are unable to achieve. So, will you agree this kind of situation in our countries? Anyone?
What is this
Ombudsman?
Yes.
Yeah, ombudsman is I will get you when we are going to detail social accountability rules. I will explain there, Janak. Yeah, I cropped it just for to show that our governance system has disturbed. Not that, don't think that any pillar based on our own country situation maybe which are inefficient because of that particular department inefficiency. We can the system will be get disturbed. So I want to show that some of the supporting systems are not functioning as they expected. Ultimately, because of their inefficiency, the quality of life is not we are planning. Whatever we are planning is not going as per expected. This is what I want to say. So now I am asking to our participants: is this happening in our system or not? As an experience, governance as an experience. Please. Anyone? This governance as an experience, is it going in our systems, in our countries, or is it like this? Based on your experience also, you can share. So, but most of the countries, this is happening in the system. That's why we brought this concept of good governance, where public participation and they will lead this process, and it brings your accountability and transparency. It makes some efficient of governance in system. Ultimately, you can improve service delivery in the system. Call it as a 4 Ds. First one is deficit of alternatives. Yes, please. Ahmad, you want to say anything? Ahmad Mostan? Yeah. So the contest, if you see, we will call it as a 4 Ds. D means deficits. Deficit of alternatives, because only single service provider will be there. Another one, information deficit, lack of awareness on their rights and entitlements. They don't know what is the standards and norms, nature of contracts and complaints. And another one is accountability deficit, weak monitoring and regulations, grievance redressal system, poor grievance redressal system, and deficit of voice, weak engagement of civil society. All this leads to your debate on your social accountability in your system. Even you can see an example. I'm here. A governance system, budgets. We are getting millions of rupees in our system. This is our machinery, is your governance system, and end user how much is getting? Very less. So because of there is a problems in our governance system, lack of accountability, lack of transparency, and lack of participation. Whatever you are planning, which is not exactly coming down to your end user. So with this tools and methods, we are going to discuss. I won't say that the entire money will come down, but at least the mechanisms we can set up in different places. We can see some extent of improved service delivery in the system. That I can say. So this again, if you see discuss on this governance deficits, this leads to your inefficiency. What is that inefficiency? In what way is a governance deficit? Anyone? Here, inefficiency in the sense of the person who supposed to deliver his services, because of his inefficiency, governance will get affected. Similarly, non-responsiveness because of a single monopoly service provider. And the system has a very weak accountability, and corruption is one of the another component. And freedom of choice to misuse. This happens in the both the supply side as well as the demand side. Can anyone give any example of that, how this freedom of choice is misused with your own country experiences? Anyone? It happens in the both the way, like a supply side as well as the demand side. Supply side, how the freedom of choice misuse, because I am the service provider, supply side. Because of I am misusing my power, instead of selecting the right beneficiary, I will benefit to the other who is not eligible. So here from the supply side, I am misusing my freedom of choice. Similarly, from the demand side also, even public also, even though they are not entitled for the some of the programs, later they will misuse their with officers, and they will
May I intervene, Professor?
Please, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. Here is K.Prabhakar, CIRDAP.
Yes, sir.
When we talk about and you undeveloped civil society.
Exactly, sir.
Yeah. I think that part of this kind of deficit, because there may be a kind of legal instrument,
Exactly,
for countries
sir.
to follow, but sometimes the knowledge of this instrument are not adequate. For example, when you look at the conflict in the South China Sea,
Sir.
it's under the clause of the sea. And in order to be able to a good governance in terms of you and of marine resources, you need to understand the UNCLOS and the rule of law, and be able to implement this, not only government, but also the capacity building. Both government, both in civil society will need to know about this legal instrument together, because they don't really know what to and how to come up with consensus among them, because instead of creating conflict, they're going to be able to understand and have a consensus building. So this is my idea, that the deficit may not be happen due to your action only, but also your knowledge. You don't know it, and you are not able to implement your respective responsibility. That is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you for your add-on points. And like you suggested, sir, so instead of just going by the only public, where there is a literacy, there is a lack of knowledge, the civil society groups or active public forums, they can lead instead of going by the individual beneficiaries fighting. Some of the active agency can take a lead to make the awareness levels of that particular project or their implementation process, like even their rights and entitlements. That brings to your international influence to your better governance in the system. Maybe the tools which I'm going to discuss depends on the different situation. Either as a common single person, I can do some representation, taking the feedback from the public that exactly reflects to the what people are thinking. And another way, there is another tool called community scorecard, where community themselves come forward and they will bring their concerns to the public. And by doing some budget analysis, you can bring the what is the actual situation in the different contexts. So different tools can be adapted based on your requirement. Accordingly, we can go ahead. So the mechanism to bring accountability, one is through civil society initiatives and state-driven reforms and donor role in the reforms. Under the civil society initiative, we can see these are the things we can do: participatory budget process, monitoring of public expenditures. For each rupee you are spending, there should be a proper monitoring in the system. And I'll explain later slides. User feedback on public services like a citizen report cards. If you are able to use this thing, their public won't directly participate, but through the public, some active agency will work for the betterment of the system. Community scorecard, at a micro level, you need to bring the changes. This is a very powerful tool to bring the such kind of changes. Audit of the administrative law, public hearing, and public interest litigation through judiciary also we can try. So here I mean to say that only public participation cannot bring all the changes. It should be everyone, all the systems, like your judiciary has to work effectively, your service delivery system has to be work effectively. By involving the community, ultimately you can work for your accountability and transparency in the system. Even if you see the state-driven initiatives, so joint management of projects, like we already discussed this, public-private partnership. Again, when public are also part of your implementation of project, it brings the accountability in the system. Citizen charters, right to information, ombudsman, independent regulator, and e-governance mechanisms. Jannat, here I can say that ombudsman means it's a grievance redressal system to address the grievance redressal. This is a timely setup with a group of people will work for to address your grievance redressals. Like if suppose in Indian cases we are doing some land acquisition for road development. So if specific issues are there, these ombudsmen will be set up for time being. These are the temporarily ombudsmen will be set up and to address that particular issues. When we had the land acquisition, maybe people not ready to give their lands, so they were against to that land acquisition system. So such kind of situation, ombudsmen will be set up to address the particular issues only for the land encroachment. So these all the complaints will be addressed with this ombudsman, and they will discuss with the particular community, and final decision will be taken by the ombudsman. The problem will be solved. Similarly, mainly to address the grievance redressal system for the any service delivery and e-governance mechanism. So now, if you want to see the good accountability in the transparency in the system, e-governance is one of the best tool. I can say from sitting here itself, you can see where is your application now processing, instead of going for the other physical manner. But for this also, we require some prerequisites. If you want to succeed your accountability systems, first we require citizen commitment. Again, I'm keep on telling that until unless there is no voice from the public or their participation, we cannot expect that effective service delivery or improved service delivery ultimately bring working for our good governance in the system. So mostly it's required citizen commitment. At least instead of they're hesitant to participate in a direct manner, they can participate through civil society organizations or public forums, providing their feedback to them that can reflect to your improvement of the services. Intermediate organizations and non-partisan leaders should be there. Democratic traditions and tolerance of dissent in society. State willingness to empower the public. Here, if it adds to your efforts for your accountability, social accountability mechanism, if these have states willingness to impose to your system, that will be great achievement. I can give one good example in this case. I think you know that former Delhi Chief Minister, Madam Sheila Dikshit, who passed away. So she found that citizen report cards are one of the good feedback mechanism to know their own services. So as a chief, she come forward and she said the system thrice we are able to do the citizen report card for the Delhi. So if state willing showing such kind of empowerment, we will generally will call it as a, especially bureaucrats, if you are ready to support such kind of initiative, we will call it as a champions. So if you have champions like a people who ready to serve for the better of the system, that ultimately reflects your state willingness. So like Sheila Dishit, she has done thrice for the citizen report card Delhi. So she want to know what Delhi people are thinking about their public service delivery. So 3 times of 2 years gap, 3 times of citizen report card has been done for the Delhi city. Similarly, Bangalore city and some of the urban. Even I can give one best example, department like police from Karnataka. They come forward to adopt this citizen report card where it's a feedback mechanism. So generally we won't expect that police department will come forward and they want to know the what people are thinking about their department. So such kind of state willingness or department officials willingness is there, then it brings to add on to your efforts for improving the accountability in the system. So how to empower your citizen? Remove information unevenness. So whatever information, whatever program about your policy or program, it should be goes to each and everyone. Not that only higher officials will know or only elected representatives will know. It should go to your end user until unless they need to know the complete knowledge about that particular program or policy. Then you can bring this accountability. They will also come forward for your participation. And publicize standards of services, remedies, right citizen users. It's nothing but citizen charters. Again, to address the information gap, where we are talking that people doesn't know what their rights and entitlement, what kind of services that particular department is providing, what are the remedies if you have the any issue with that particular service delivery. So when you publicize your standards and our services, what are the remedies? Now it's a mandatory in India. So all the departments, they need to must and should have to display their office premises as well as even their websites. Each websites will have their citizen charters. What kind of service they are providing? What are the service norms? What are the remedies? How many days it will take to get the thing? Yes. Please mute yourself. Are you asking any question, Abdullah? Hello. Yeah. So, and we need to increase transparency, access to information, like a right to information, and strengthen the supervision for compliances. So this we already discussed 4 Ds: deficit of alternatives, lack of exit options, deficit of information, low awareness on rights and entitlement, standards and norms. To address this, we have the citizen charters. Deficit of accountability, where you can bring this citizen report cards or community scorecard also. Deficit of public participation. This is a voice issue. This is just some interesting discussion we can have here. So the causes, if you see in any system, government spends on the wrong goods and wrong people. It's a budget allocation or budget allocation problem. Can anyone elaborate this? What is this? Government spends on the wrong goods and wrong people. Quickly, just you guess what could be the meaning of that sentence. Yes, please.
Sacred cow projects like the political motivated projects which are not going to impact a large segment of population or the benefit of larger segment of population.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. Any other one? One more example. Anyone? Yes.
I'd like to give example, but it is not a goods. It's a project. For example,
yes,
government dealing with coastal erosion.
Sir.
And instead of finding the nature-based solution, they are doing hard structure, building a wall, and then it increase more coastal erosion. This kind of wrong direction,
yes, sir,
still go on in some places in Asia, and so that this become a problem. Yeah. Okay.
Very good, very good. Thank you, thank you. And I can give one more example. If suppose in a village, the people require one primary health center, but government has released budget for the construction of the bridge, which is not at all required. So because of this, participatory budget process is not happening in that particular location. So without taking the public concern, government has spent the money on the some other wrong goods. So either it's not useful for the government as well as the public. So they spent on the one bridge which is not at all required. Actually, people requirement on the primary health center. So you are spending on the wrong goods and wrong people, and it's a budget allocation problem. Especially, you are not consulting with what is the public requirement for the budget spending. So it's a participatory budget. Lacking of the participatory budget process in the system. And expenditure tracking problems. Government does the audits in a just verifying the bills and vouchers. If you want to see each rupee or each dollar what you are spending for every expenditure, there should be a public participation mode expenditure tracking system. It's called a public expenditure tracking surveys. Here, each allocations will be minutely verified by the public along with the officials. Every unit of expenditure will be audited by the public. And weak incentives for the effective service delivery, where we can see the problem of monitoring and accountability. And demand side constraints, problem of participation and awareness, voice problem. And in any system, there will be three actors. One is policymaker, another one is the implementer, and third one is the citizens. So people who decide how our service is to the your provider. But generally, there will be no direct relationship with three actors, like a policymaker, a provider, citizens. They never meet each other. Either citizen, provider will meet and they will consult, or policymaker, citizen will consult, or policymaker, provider will. By adopting these social accountability tools, the methodology of social accountability itself brings all three actors in one place, where you can discuss the issues and you can try to address the problems there itself. So that's the beauty of social accountability tools. It brings your citizens into your picture, it brings your service provider into your pictures, and it brings your policymakers. So ultimately, you can bring improved service delivery in the system. So there are so many different tools and techniques, and these mechanisms help ensure greater accountability. That's the one. Ultimately, we are planning using different accountability tools to bring the accountability to citizens for their public actions and outcomes. And they constitute the demand side approach to public policy reforms. Even if you see some of the example of social accountability tools, election monitoring, even watching the election monitoring also one of your social accountability mechanism. Why? What's the reason social election monitoring is one of your social accountability tool? In what way? Anyone? Because we already discussed that when you want to adopt your social accountability, there is a democratic system should be there. Until unless you don't have method, don't we think that right person will be elected? So you need to start from there itself. When you do the proper election monitoring, allowed to elect the right person in the election itself. Then only you can see the democracy in the system. If you participation, verification, participatory budgeting, public expenditure tracking. In each slide, I will, in one slide, I can explain each of the tools to everyone. Now you can see the causes and fixes. Now we discussed government spends on the wrong goods and wrong people. It's actually budget allocation problem. Through the participatory budget as well as the budget analysis, you address this issue. So when you do the proper participatory budget process, you can say that instead of sanctioning the money to construct a flyover or bridge, when you do this participatory budgeting, the people will come in common place, they sit together, they will identify their list of issues. Even among that, they can prioritize what their immediate requirement, what is the budget available is there for us, and what they can spend on immediately. So when you do these exercises, this doesn't happen. Government spends on the wrong goods and wrong people. Similarly, resources fail to reach service provided to users. It's an expenditure tracking problem. We need to do the public expenditure tracking surveys. So each unit of expenditure has to be tracked by the public along with the officials. To consider the particular building. If you see the government audits, they will just check the total bills, how much we have sanctioned, what they have spent on that. But when you adopt these public expenditure tracking surveys, then the community of that particular village as well as the officials will verify along with the each specification what the contractor has mentioned in the proposal. How many doors he has mentioned and what actually he has put. What is the quality of the material he has provided. Everything will be monitored by this tracking system. So it brings the more accountability in the system. Where weak incentives for the effective service delivery, a problem of monitoring and accountability, where you can adopt this citizen report card methodology as a massive. You can do for state as a whole or country as a whole also we can do. And demand side constraints, problem of participation and awareness, where you can see bring this voice issue with the community scorecard exercise. CSC means community scorecard. It's a very micro level tool. In a village, particular issues can be addressed with this adopting this community scorecard approach. And the enablers for your like Bangladesh, RTA, India, Nepal, Pakistan also they good in India and Pakistan also we have done this procurement acts. Bangladesh and Pakistan we have the right to public service act RTPS. These are the enablers for the effective implementation of techniques for our social accountability measures. But same time there will be some challenges. We are starting with different techniques, and ultimately it has to end with politics. Like a policymaker has to be take a decision, or you need to influence your policymaker to make that particular policy changes. From process to outcome. So it won't stop. It starts with the process, how its process is going on, and what outcome we can be planning for our policy or program, quality protocols. So these are the challenges will be there, but we have done in several cases in the India. Tools, like I said, that citizen report card, community scorecard, public hearing, ombudsman, community radios. So among these tools, any of our parts has that social ability. Anyone? And how come
So in our country, we use community radio in southern district, disaster-prone area in Bangladesh. So is this? I don't know whether it is. It's not the part of social accountability tool.
Okay, okay.
Sir, can you?
Jannat?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, in
Please.
our country, we use the government uses community radio for the disaster information for cyclone flood.
Cyclone. So you are creating awareness of that particular people
Yes.
who are vulnerable, those who are far
Yes.
away from the mainstream.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you can pass the information to them that
Yes.
to ready to face such kind of situation. So
Yes.
in that way, yeah, good. So similarly, for any of the government programs, through this community radio, you can bring this awareness among those particular groups, those who are away from the mainstream. They're in different places. So with this community radio, you can bring this awareness about the government programs and schemes and to bring the changes in the system. Very good, Jana. So if you see the SATs means social accountability tools. It's tools used by civil society groups in India. You can see the policy, budget and formulation, people planning. In Kerala, people are doing it, government supported program. And community scorecards is doing it Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, citizen report cards in Bangalore, performance monitoring and civic engagement. Ultimately, with this civic engagement, different programs has been done by the different groups in the India. So in a nutshell, I can give one slide for important social accountability tools. You can see this social audits and public hearing. It's a practice of assembly of participants or users of a particular program or a service in a locality. So each government program that users will come together in a common place. There will be a prior announcement made on the public hearing and public narration of the problems faced in that particular program implementation, or what kind of problems are faced by the users will be narrated in a public common places. So conclusions presented with the proposed actions in discussion with the service providers present. So there will be a service provider also will be present when you are doing the social audit or public hearing. And it's an effective participatory method of public assessing in the problem and plugging a problem to exert pressure on the agency for reforms. If any issues are there itself they can try to change in the system. And it can be done in short notice. So if you want to plan any social audit or public hearing, within 3 to 4 days, you are able to do this system. And community scorecard is basically, it's a very micro level tool. At village level, community level, you can adopt this to address the voice issues like a participation of the public. This is one of the best tool I can say, but it's a limitation is very micro tool. It's a very micro. If suppose in a village you have 2 schools, you want to conduct community scorecard, you need to do for 2 separate community scorecard. By conducting one community scorecard for the one school, we cannot generalize the findings because it's a micro approach. For that particular school, for that primary health center, what kind of service delivery is happening, how they are lacking in the accountability and transparency. So at a micro level, within the community, even 1.5 day, you are able to make the changes in the system. So the key steps of community scorecard is these are the 6 key steps. First, we need to start with preparatory groundwork. So we need to start collection of secondary data, orientation meeting with the service provider and users, and select the indicators. And we need to start with input tracking scorecard, inform communities about their rights and entitlement, finalization of indicators. If suppose primary health center, what could be the indicators? Can anyone? Primary health center. Primary health center or a primary education, what could be the indicators? what are things will be there in the primary health center?
For primary health center, I suppose to tell that the number of patients they are treated or they are getting the facility of medicines. So
Very
we
good.
can
Very good.
number of, yeah.
Same thing. So in a primary health center, how many doctors are there? How many supporting staff there? How many rooms are there? You suppose they want to take inpatient. What are the medical facilities are there? These are the indicators. So just we need to identify 10 to 12 indicators. Even among them, you can identify important 5 to 6 indicators for your first community scorecard exercises. So then performance scorecard by the community card. For identified indicators, community will give the scores out of 3. What rank they want to give based on their experiences. Same indicator will be given the score by the self evaluation by the service provider. Those who are working doctors and supporting staff, they themselves also can give the scores for their selected indicators. So then you can have it indicator interface meeting. So there both will sit together and they will verify the scores. What community has given, what service provider has given. So generally, community will give low score, service provider will have the highest score. Then we will have the consensus scores. They agree and they will go for the plan of action. Finally, institutionalization. With this, we are able to do the at micro level as a very powerful tool to make the immediate changes in the system. Sorry, also. You come after me. Then public expenditure tracking and budget analysis, if you see, its objective is to understand the problems in budget process, like a participatory budget process and execution, including delays, leakages, and skewed priorities in the public funding. Tracking of expenditure to assess whether fund utilization has been done as per the purpose specified. So we can track the fund spending, how much actually they have received and what they have spent. You can track that expenditure detail. The fund utilization has been done as per the purpose specified, and involve collection of budget information from various sources. We need to do analysis and interpretation and verification at the ground level. That's what is the main key. Not that sitting only by secondary data, we are not doing here. The same data will be get validated at the ground level, whether they have made the changes they have spent on that particular amount or not. And presentation at various forums and advocacy for participation in the process. Citizen report card I will give. But before adopting any of these social accountability tools, whatever we have discussed just now, we need to see whether these tools can be applicable to our local system. So for that, we have the critical line device. So we check whether the critical lines are good, then you can adapt your accountability tool. If some of the indicators are not good, we can try to adapt, influence how to bring them into picture. This is called device factors. So these are the 9 things we need to check before adopting your social accountability tools. Like we need to check that what is the political setting, what is the decentralization system in that particular country or state, political involvement, service providers response, how they are responding, freedom of expression, free media, ability to seek feedback, survey skills and advocacy, active civil society organizations. So in this, if you are able to work out these critical lines, then we are able to get which tool can be adopted and what strategy. If suppose in a particular location decentralization is not effective, so what strategy we can make to work decentralization? Not that we can omit that particular indicator, but how we can make influence them to bring into the picture. So like if you see this political context, so political institutions in our country support or hinders methodologies like social accountability tools. First, we need to check whether will they allow to do such kind of exercises or not. Then decentralization. Do local bodies have reasonably high degree of financial and policy making power? Because we are working at micro level. village level. So is there any system of decentralization? If existing, whether they have the policy making powers or not, we need to check. If suppose they don't have policy making power, and we need to influence the next level, district level or provincial level who are there. So we need to strategize if any low scores are coming away. Ability to seek feedback, whether would organization feel safe conducting a public feedback exercise like the social accountability tools. Freedom of expression, whether do people feel free to give honest feedback about government service or not. Active civil society organization, because sometimes public won't come directly to participate our process, but through civil society they are ready to give their responses, where you can take the feedback from the public, and these civil society, independent civil society organization can work for the betterment of that particular community or nation. So are they active civil societies in the country? Are they independent? And we need to check this also, whether if they are completely against the government or completely pro the government also, we can, it doesn't serve our purpose. So we need to check whether are they independent and are they non-partisans. Because some of the tools we require some survey skills and advocacy. And another important is the media is independent in that particular location where we are adapting this. Do they have issues related to public services? Will they cover social accountability findings and present them in an unbiased manner? These things we need to check. If suppose free media is completely biased, so what strategy we can adopt? Media nowadays, if you observe, mostly they are pro to the, there will be the two groups, either pro government or pro against the government. So in such kind of situation, how we can use the media as for our requirement to showcase our findings, to highlight our social accountability findings. Can anyone? If such kind of situation, the media is not supporting, we start with our own social media groups. We have WhatsApp, social media, so many social media forums are there. Use that to bring the reality to the public. Once people are started recognizing your findings, then automatically media also will come to your line. So we need to strategize. Don't think that if someone is not ready to support, we need to think that how to bring them into our picture. We cannot omit some of these critical line things. If they are not interested, how to bring them? If survey skills are there not there, how to make your own people to get the educated on these survey skills. That's it. Not that we cannot go for the beyond some other things. And service provides responsiveness. Do service providers seek consumers and user feedback? How please, please yeah. And political involvement. We need to see that would higher levels of government take interest in the findings. So I have shown that Sheila Dishit Madam example, like police department in Karnataka. So there are people as a showcase to you how they can involve. And these tools, nowhere we are not, it's a fault finding mechanisms. Please remember that these methodologies are simply, we are diagnosing the problem of issues and you are coming up with the solution. So if you are able to make them understand these issues, most of them, they will come forward. Even political involvement, if initially they are not interested, we can meet them and explain that this is going to benefit for you only. In your constituency, in your location, these are the problems is happening. If you do better things, it will ultimately use for you only. So in such manner, if you are able to convince them, they are ready to support with us. Maybe initial hiccups will be there, but once we have the consultation with the different agencies, most of them they are able to support for these kind of exercises. So in another 10 minutes, I will take this citizen report card. Just one tool we can discuss. We have another 10 minutes time. So by seeing this picture, what is coming to your mind? And we have done the citizen report card for Pakistan also. In Lahore, we have come, our team, we have done in the Lahore city also. So by seeing this picture, what is coming to your mind immediately?
Collective responsibility.
Yes, collective responsibility. And the services provided for the different people, they are common. Different people are there, but service is the common. But they have the different kind of experiences in implementation of that particular service delivery. Actually, it's a citizen voice in public service delivery and ensuring transparency and accountability. Ultimately, this works for your good governance in the system. So here, public participation in the mode of indirect manner. They won't participate directly. By providing their feedback indirectly, they are giving their feedback to about the particular services. It's a simple evaluation tool, and it provides the summative feedback on service performance. Summative means anyone?
Before you move forward, I'd like to ask you the scorecard and tools that you mentioned.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any part of that mentioning about gender dimension?
Yes, sir. We can include that, especially for in the case of community scorecard. We can keep this gender dimension for the community scorecard is a very effective tool. Maybe maybe in 5 minutes, let me complete this one. I will showcase showcase community scorecard real-time example where I have done in the real-time on the ground how that improvement has been happened. Actually, CIRDAP has published that paper, last journal also, sir. So I will share that feedback, that complete exercise, what we have done in 5 minutes only. Then we can go for the others. So it provides a summative feedback on service performance, scope for comparison with other services. When you are doing citizen report card, you can compare with 5 to 8 or 10 services at a time. So why we need to compare? Just any guess? When you comparing, what will happen? Please. Because when you are comparing 5 to 8 services, so public will give feedback on that particular services. So someone will get highest rank, someone will get low rank. So it gives the positive competitiveness among the service provider. This time my rank is very low. By next time when they are conducting citizen report card, my rank may go to higher rank. So by comparison, you are bringing the positive competitiveness among the service provider, and ultimately it's done by the Public Affairs Center based in Bangalore. It generates credible user feedback, not that someone has heard or someone has some opinions. This is not an opinion poll kind of thing. Here in this process, we will identify the actual users of that particular service which we are evaluating. Identifying those users, taking feedback, their experience about that particular program. It's nothing but like a school report card only. This is my report card in this class 9th. So now you can tell me what I need to do immediately. These are the marks I got. Actual marks, what I got is in English 85, Maths 70, Science 76, Social Science. So wherever I got low scores, so immediately I need to work more on the particular subjects. Either I will go to the tuitions or I will sit extra time to read on those to improve my scores in that particular topic. Similarly, even my rank in the class also, out of 30, it's at 16. So I need to improve my rank. Same strategy here you can adopt for the citizen report cards. So it starts with situation assessment and formulating scope of our work. We'll take the citizen feedback of survey. We'll give the service ratings, and we'll start with that's another beauty that citizen report cards never ends with the just report submission. There will be an advocacy strategy with service provider and citizen participation in the reforms and continuous process will be there. Not that if you do only one citizen report card, you cannot make any change in the system. But if you are continuously, if you are doing over a period of time, the changes you can observe how they have improved over a period of time. So these are the aspects which we will cover in our citizen report card. We are taking quantitative estimation of actual users. Please note that we are taking experience of the real person, not that someone they have their some opinion. This is not an opinion. This is completely users' experiences with regard to availability of the services, access to the services, usage of the services. Again, within the access, it's a physical access, financial access, as well as the social access. Even Virapatji. So we can adopt this methodology for the even the gender concerns also. Same as a feedback mechanism, we can adopt this also as a macro level. And quality and reliability, how quality of that particular services and reliability, incidence of problems and responsiveness of service provider. Are there any hidden costs like corruption or forced investments? Finally, we will end up with the satisfaction with the services, reason for satisfaction, session for the improvement. If these three simple aspects you are able to follow, you are able to succeed to in implementation of citizen report card. I will share some findings here. Now we can see this we have done in the one of the state called Sikkim in 2011. So when we have done this study, so 8 services we have been covered. So which is the lowest access to service? Which service? Garbage clearance. Only 9% of people are able to access. So this is the comparison. When you are comparing next time onwards, because we are advocacy is to improve their service quality. So next time, by the time when you are doing a second report card, this exactly reflect to improve in the service delivery. Present condition of the roads. This we have done in the Tanzania citizen report card. So lake part of the public has reported that 7% of the people said that the roads are washed away. Quality, reliability, overall satisfaction. Similarly, corruption, you can see users reported paying extra money to avail services. So to avail drinking water services, this is in Karnataka, one of the district of Raichur. So 81% of users responded that they paid extra money to avail the drinking water services. To avail pension scheme, 34% people said that they paid extra money. Even to education, to avail services, they paid 2%. 2% people said that they paid extra money. Even if you see the police study which I am mentioning, complete satisfaction, state as a whole is a 26% people reported that they are not happy with the service of the police department in the state of Karnataka. Where is the highest complete satisfaction? Please, anyone? So in Western range, if you see within the same state, how some section of the some states or some part of the location are doing better, some are very poor. So you can take the best practice of who are doing the good work, and you can give for the dissemination process. So the citizen report card done across the globe, not only in India. So it's done in the Bangalore, Ukraine, Mumbai slums, African countries, Zanzibar, Ethiopia, Tajikistan, even Pakistan also have done, Mumbai, Delhi. So you can see the different. Why I am mentioning this? This can be adaptable for any public services. Like this is the electricity, first one. Here we have done the benchmarking public service in the Northeast in India. This is the policy study which I am quoting. Public distribution. This is the subsidized food grain distribution system in the Karnataka. So you can adapt even Bangalore basic services. 10 services we are covered. Maternal health service delivery. This is actually a hybrid tool method we have used. These tools for improving maternal health service delivery. Here we have adapted the budget analysis, community scorecards, citizen report cards, So all three tools has been hybrided. We made it as a different approach, and we are trying to adopt this methodology. Yes, village level also we have done services of Gram Panchayat. Gram Panchayat is a group of villages in the Indian context for the hygiene practices. Even we have done for this MP-led study. The MPs are how much every year they will get 2 crores rupees to as a MP lads. They can spend on their own constituency. But generally the study find different, there is no proper strategy to spend that particular money. So across the any sector, any government services, we can adopt this citizen report card as a macro level, as a state, as a whole, or district, any level you can adopt this citizen report card methodologies. And give me 2 minutes, I will show that another one also, community scorecard. Just 2 minutes, then we will wind up this. So this is an example of this community scorecard, improved service delivery and impact of NIRDPR training. So similarly, I have trained some people, all these social accountability tools in Haryana state. This is our methodology. So here. They said that they want to adopt these training learnings as a practice. So they tested in the field itself. So 3 villages, they have done this community scorecard exercise for the public distribution system. So they indicate the shop availability, ration availability, behavior. This is again service provider scores. If you see all 3 together, the first community scorecard in village 1, community has given the red colors are the community scorecard. These are the service provider scores, and these are the consensus scores, means agreed scores in the first community scorecard. And after 6 months, again they conduct the second community scorecard village. Now we can see the changes. These cycles, how the community score has been improved from first community scorecard to second one. In the first shop availability, first community scorecard, they have given the score of 5. Based on the mechanisms what they adapted to improve their services, the same community after 6 months, they have given the complete full score for the shop availability. Most of the scores has exactly increased. Even quality of ration C, it has been decreased actually. First community scorecard, they have given 10 by this time of, because there is some issues in the quality of the good at that time. So whatever exact things are there will be reflected in the your first and second community scorecard. Similarly, second village, you can see this is another village, how this scores has been improved. This is the third one. So again, here also improvement of the third village. First community scorecard is the left side, and right side is the second community scorecard. Scores has been exactly only they got score of 1, but after they are making the every time available display. So exactly with the limit, you can make the improvement in the system. That's what community scorecard can make a changes in the at micro level, again village level or particular service unit level only. This is what I want to share here. So now I will stop here. Please, if you have any questions, we can go further.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful and descriptive presentation.
Thank you.
Now, we can allow 5 more minutes to our
Yes.
audience if they have any questions or opinions or suggestions to us or to the presenter. You can ask question now, if you have any.
Yes, I from CIRDAP,
Sir.
Professor K.Prabhakar, we carry out the training program last month. It's a regional training program on integrated rural development, governance, trade, and sustainable development.
Sir.
And in the first module, we talked about global framework and on integrated rural development and related instruments. The second module is on adaptive management, and the third one is on policy formulation and comprehensive action. I would like to invite you to contribute as a lecturer on governance.
Definitely.
Next year. We will send you invitation, okay?
Okay.
That's the first one, so that you can speak about the governance and social accountability, which is considered to me very important. And I know that in your country, in India and other South Asia, promoting of bottom-up process is very important. And this is something that we make the good governance and transform the policy into action.
Exactly.
In a sustainable way. So I think that this should be done more.
Definitely.
But there are some challenges. So could you identify some challenges in doing this, please?
Yeah, I will do. So generally, in most of the time, the initial hesitations will be there from the service provider end, or if suppose you want to involve the local elected representatives, there will be some hesitation. Mostly they won't say, no, who are you to assess our service delivery? So we need to strategize how to address these kind of issues. If suppose a service provider at district level is not ready to support our process, we can identify the person who are the interested tools like social accountability. You can identify some of there will be some people who are open their doors to do such kind of practices. So identify such kind of people. Through them we can influence them, and we need to convince the person who is registrating there is no finger pointing. This is not a fault finding mechanism. First we need to clear this to them. Then immediately, most of the time, 50% of problem will be solved. And nowhere we are not taking any individual names or any individual person. As a whole, this is the service condition. So how to improve these conditions? And we can showcase some of the best examples, like our Sheila Dikshit madam, who was the Chief Minister of Delhi, S.M. Krishna from Karnataka. Some of the champions we can take as their role model, and we can influence to them to also, you can also adopt. Similarly, I have trained some people in the Sri Lanka, sir. I think almost 8 years before, same citizen report card, we have done training in the, that Jaffna, where the internal war affected area. So I trained almost basic qualified, means their standard of education is less than 10th standard. But even though I have given training and hands-on experiences, they adopted that methodology. They have come up with first citizen report card for the education sector in the Sri Lanka. So the initial hiccups will be there, definitely. Only we need to strategize how to influence them with the other persons, or how to bring them to picture. And here my request, one more thing, sir. As a CIRDAP director, please can we plan this as a one-to-one program instead of online, because each tool has to be go through 1 week time also. Use community scorecard. I have just given a gist. If you want to do hands-on experiences, it will take 1 week time. Like similarly, citizen report card. So we can identify some good interested our participants from the respective countries in a common point, either NIRD or in Bangladesh, wherever you want. you wish, we can do. It's a hand holding exercise, training to our participant, and we can try to, we will take into the further next level. Maybe this we can plan as a series of trainings exclusively on only social accountability. Whether if possible, we'll go one-to-one. Otherwise, online, if even community scorecard, 3 days for community scorecard, a citizen report card for 1 week, budget analysis, another 3 to 4 days. So we can plan in other way, taking to the next level of this to the as a this training to the next levels.
Okay, I mean that we may dedicate, let's say, 3 hours for you in our flagship training.
Yes,
but for the 1 week training, as you mentioned, that probably can be done at NIRDPR.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe CIRDAP can collaborate with NIRDPR to organize such training in Hyderabad.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so thank you.
We can plan, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Sir, we still have 1 minute to go, 1 to 2 minutes roughly. So if anyone else have anything to say or ask the question? Yes.
Yeah, go for me, please.
Yeah, so I have just first a comment and a question. So the comment is, so you have given different definition of good governance. So obviously, theoretically, I have nothing to contest in that. But in summary of, as a summary of all those definition, I would define good governance as a something where those who govern and those who are governed,
yes, sir,
if there is trust among them, particularly those who are governed, they can trust those who are governing them, then I would say that there is presence of good governance.
Exactly.
And I don't mean only political trust,
yes,
because political trust can be manipulated different ways.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So for that, of course, you need transparency, accountability, and particularly what you have emphasized on, and the participation of the citizens.
Yes.
And that participation of citizen has to be representative, because at times participation could be biased as well, because if you have only one section of the citizen
exactly
participate. So as our DZ Dr. Birapat was also referring to about the gender dimension. So you need to have gender representation, you need to have caste representation,
exactly
different sections of the society.
I will respond, because whenever we are planning these exercises, whatever you are suggesting, all they will be taken into consideration. Even for citizen report card, this will be a proper sampling to spread the sample to across the system. Wherever we are planning, it has to go to each group of the particular society. Not that then it will be collapsed. Even similarly, community scorecard, definitely actual users identified, the gender concerns will be taken into consideration. All the things will be considered for whenever we are applied for this kind of methodologies. Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah. So the other comment is, I think you have rightly emphasized on the role of media, and independent and fair media. But nowadays, as you also mentioned, that media is also very biased.
Exactly.
Particularly in my country, I can say that. So, but one thing I think which you did not focus that much on is that the role of the judiciary. I think when you do not have an independent media, and many institutions also get influenced, I think the independent judiciary is very, very important.
Exactly.
And that again can actually bring in the trust from the people. And so these are two comments. Finally, my question to you is, you see, again, related to this biasness in the participation of the citizens. You see, at times when you are from computing those scores in different dimensions, and you are taking feedback from the people, what might happen, you see, people might think that, okay, if I exaggerate my dissatisfaction, then there is a possibility that the service provider might actually provide more. So strategically, you actually increase your level of dissatisfaction. Or if you believe that if I strategically inflate my satisfaction, because if you think that, if I express my dissatisfaction, then I might be, asked to pay for that. If I suppose, as a citizen, if I believe that whatever service that is provided, I'll be asked to pay for that. So you might increase strategically your satisfaction so that you don't have to pay. So that kind of bias, is there any tool when you are computing those, score and collecting people's feedback? Is there any tool that you apply to correct for those biases?
Thank you. Good question. So the basic thing in citizen report card itself, the tool developed based on the guidelines what says for that particular service delivery. So as per the guidelines, what their promises, how many, if suppose drinking water, as per the guidelines, their timelines, how much time they have to release, what is the quality, everything we are taking going by their procedure only. So we are not going to beyond to that. Within that itself, what is the kind of service delivery? Similarly, like you said, there will be a under report or over report of the satisfaction. Exactly. In case of Bangalore, when we are conducting, we will take the both the means general household as well as the slum dwellers as separate, because their service delivery is completely different than to the general household. If you observe that, even though general household, they will get by 24/7 of water, their complete satisfaction is less than 60%. Same way, when you look into the slum dwellers, their satisfaction, even though they are getting once in a twice, their satisfaction is the 85-90. So the expectation of service delivery varies from the public to public. So that's why we will try to maximize your sample to spread, and based on the enough sample size only, we will generalize the findings. Not that only, even for what is your unit level, based on that sample will be decided. Most of the time we will take 2000 sample, 4000, depends upon the what kind of services. So that measures will be taken into consideration, and the tools will be designed based on the what are the basic document of service delivery of the particular services. So when you design your questions itself based on the service delivery norms itself, I don't think the biasness will be reduced.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are over the time actually. So thank you all for the participating in the webinar. So we look forward to in the new year, upcoming year, and Happy New Year to all. I wish you all good luck. Yeah. And so thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you again. I want to thank Dr. Virapat, Director General CIRDAP, for giving this opportunity. As we discussed, further we can plan some in the next coming year as a huge manner. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you all. Thank
you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wish you happy
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary.